As you can see, getting on with my jobs for the month during February. One of them, as we said in our last video, is to start aligning the edges, cutting the grass back so that it can't grow into the borders anymore. And it immediately makes the garden look so much better. It's a lovely mild 13 degrees here today at the beginning of February. That means it's a poppy day. She feels a bit more better about coming out into the garden. And in today's programme, it is the next sow along. And being February, there is much to sow. Hello and welcome back to the No Dig Norfolk Gardener, where today we need to do some sowings. February being February, for me it really is the start of the gardening year. There's much more we can sow. Consequently, there's probably going to be about 3 Sow With Us videos that you shall see this month. So, let's get started. Now, with it being a new month, we shall be sowing these seedlings into a new compost. This month, we are looking at the Melcourt Silver Grow. Now, this particular company is based down in Gloucestershire. There's some lovely holidays in Gloucestershire, haven't we, Mrs.
yes.
W?
Yeah, definitely.
We have. And just like the fertile fibre, it's RHS recommended, or it's endorsed by. It actually states that it's vegan friendly. So for our vegan friends, you want to grow your own vegetables, this is very suitable for you. I'm not saying the fertile fibre wasn't, but it didn't actually state it on there, did it?
No.
So good for them. Clearly it's made in the United Kingdom, and I know this is important for a lot of people that want to use compost to grow their seeds in. It actually contains no green waste. It specifically states it on there. Now it says, Mrs. W, that Silver Grow with added John Innes is a unique blend of fine bark, wood fibre, byproducts of sustainably managed British forests and coir from known sustainable sources, plus sterilised loam and sand. It contains balanced nutrients sufficient for the first 4 to 6 weeks of growth. That's exactly what we want.
It is. It is.
Now once again, I just want to state that we are not being sponsored by any of these companies. We are just trying this out for ourselves, and then we shall let you know exactly how it performs. It actually feels really nice, Mrs. W.
It looks really dark, doesn't it?
Yeah. Compared to the fertile fibre, this is really very dark. But
And
then you'd
quite smooth too, not no lumps or anything. Is it?
no, but you'd probably expect that because it is made from bark from sustainably managed forests, and of course it's quite a bit darker than coir, isn't it?
There is coir in it though, so
Yeah.
just interesting to see how they're all going to be doing.
It certainly is. Now, with it being February, that's the key time that myself and Mrs. W like to sow certain vegetables. We're going to start with some aubergines. Now, we've tried 1 or 2 aubergines over the year, but actually the variety Moneymaker has performed really quite well for us, hasn't
It's been really good.
It's a lovely size aubergine.
Yeah.
and they have always produced good fruit, haven't they?
Yeah. And I usually grow some of those for my friend, and she doesn't grow them in a greenhouse. She grows them outside in pots, and she always has fantastic harvests and that. It is a bit of a sun trap where she puts her pots, but yeah.
Yeah. We shall actually be growing ours in here.
Yes.
Now, as ever, when you're going to be sowing something, it's always a good idea to have everything at hand so that you aren't trying to go around, what have I done with that? If you've got everything there in place, we've got our seeds, the scissors were obviously in there, got our label, and we've got our pots. And unlike last month when we sowed the onions, you can see they're here, and they were also sowed into modules. But with these, they're going to be sowed into pots. So I'm going to charge the pot with some compost. Just tamper that down slightly. They're really quite tiny, those seeds, Mrs.
Yeah,
W.
they are, aren't they?
What I'm going to do is just spread these out, leaving some space between them. And the difference with the sowing of these, by doing them like this, is that we shall prick these out once they've germinated and got to a size whereby we can handle them. Now we are putting 1 or 2 in here because firstly, with the polytunnel being here, we have more space now to grow under cover, but also we have some friends down in the village that also like to grow Urber Jeans, as Mrs. W has already alluded to. And as we did with the other seeds, we're just going to cover those with a bit of vermiculite. Pop the label in, and they're good to go. So we're going to drop those in some water that I've already put here and let that soak to the top. Next we have some yellow peppers, and this is actually seed that Mrs. W saved from our peppers last year. Now those of you that regularly follow our channel, you'll probably think to yourself, why are you sowing pepper seeds? Because you overwintered some plants last season. And that's very true, we did. But I don't yet know how they're going to turn out. And I would hate to get to May time and we have no peppers available for us. So, to hedge our bets, at the moment I'm always going to sow some fresh plants. And also, we successfully did overwinter our pepper plants from the year before last. And if you go back and look over our playlist, you'll see they grew very well. But actually, we've never actually done this on 2-year-old plants. I don't know whether that's achievable or whether you can't do it on 2-year-old plants. So just in case, they don't quite make it, I want to make sure that we've got peppers and chilies. Mrs. W would not be happy if we didn't have peppers and chilies.
Not.
And we grew a variety called California Wonder, didn't we? But what you actually did was to save the seeds from the particular colours of the peppers, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
Hence why it says yellow pepper.
Yeah.
The idea is that we know that these came from a yellow pepper, so hopefully...
I'll produce a yellow pepper.
Exactly, they'll produce a yellow pepper. And then these are the red peppers. And again, seed that Mrs. W saved for us. So we've done our peppers, and next I want to sow some chili peppers. Now the ones that we like are jalapeno. you pick your seeds that determine the heat that you would like to eat. These work really well for us. It's the kind of chilli that we like. So we've done 3 lots of peppers. The one you didn't see on the camera was a variety called Fantasia. Fantasia was new to us last year. We actually really quite enjoyed them, didn't we?
Yes, yeah.
So we've saved those. What is important to say is that we're saving these seeds because they are not F1s. If you've grown peppers from F1 seed, then you can't save the seed.
And today I'm going to be sowing some herbs. Unfortunately, we lost our oregano plant over winter. That hasn't overwintered at all. So I'm going to be sowing some oregano and thyme and also some coriander.
And of course you also need to sow some because our son is about to move house, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
The youngest boy.
Yeah, he's
And-
moving on from a flat to a house, so he's gonna with a garden. So I've already been growing some parsley over winter, so I'm going to pot some of that up for him, and obviously also I'll be potting on some of these seedlings too. Right, so we're going to start off with some thyme. And in the past, these have always germinated quite well, and they're very, very fine seeds. So I'm just going to put, can you see those? They are really tiny. They're even smaller than poppy seeds. They're quite tiny. So I'm just going to sprinkle those over the surface, put in my label, and just with the vermiculite again, excuse me. And then just with the vermiculite, I'm just going to put a little covering over top. Same sort of seeds again, really tiny for the oregano. Can't even see where you're sprinkling, so just do your best. Now these seeds are much bigger. You can definitely see those ones.
This is the coriander, is it?
This is the coriander, yes, yeah.
Oh.
So, and again, sprinkle it over. I'm just going to pop those now into the water bath where the peppers and chilies are.
As you know, in the last sow along, we started our onions off. Now it's time to start some shallots off. And it's a shallot that we grew last season and we were most impressed with it, weren't we?
Yeah, they're great. They really are.
Really?
I know we've got other shallots in the garden which are lovely too, but they were just so nice, weren't they?
That they were. And it's a variety called Zebrun. And they produce some really fantastic sized bulbs. So it's time for us to be starting these off, and I'm just going to spread these liberally over here. Because we enjoyed them so much, we actually want a lot. They keep really well. Some of them grew almost the size of an onion, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, they did.
They really did.
Some of them were amazing size. Well, they were all a good size for a shallot, weren't they?
Yeah.
We didn't have any tiddlers or
No.
anything. They were a really nice size, nice flavour.
Although we gave these a dedicated space last season, they will have their own dedicated space again, but I'm also going to pop these in and dot them all around the garden. We want to at least have double the amount we grew last year, didn't we?
Yes, please.
Because they really were very, very good. So again, let's just cover these with some vermiculite. The label in. They are good to go. We shall put those into a water bath too. With the peppers and the chilies, they need a certain temperature to be able to germinate at, which is around about 21-22 degrees Celsius. Now we have our Heatmatch. If you don't yet have Heatmatch yet, I will drop the link back down in the description as I did in the last sow with us, and then you can see where we got ours from. They are really quite handy to have. But equally, if you've got a hotbed, that will do nicely. But equally, if you have a nice warm sunny windowsill south facing, that should give enough warmth. They might take a little longer to germinate, but they will eventually come through. As for the herbs and the zabroon shallots, they won't need any particular direct heat from the bottom, but they will really benefit from being down in your house where they can get the ambient warmth from whatever room you are putting them in, just on a nice sunny windowsill. There has been a lot of views actually on our how to sow shallot seeds, but that video was never actually completed. Finished. We never went on to show anything else that year because those seeds simply did not germinate. So now we have these. Hopefully you should be able to see them all the way through from seeds to when we harvest them this season. And I know many of you are going to be sowing your seeds this month. Fantastic. February is a really great month. As I said right at the start of the video, February I regard as the beginning of the growing season. In fact, our youngest daughter Sasha, her birthday is on Valentine's Day. I often like to think that's a good point to start. Do have a great gardening week, and we shall see you on the next one.